Hello everyone! This month I am so excited to be participating in my first booktube buddy read, and I am reading James with Stuart from Reading Rekindled. This book I've been eyeing ever since it came out. I have heard so many good things. Book Chat with Pat talked about this book and said it was a really good read, and I'm very excited to dive into it. From everything that I've read about this book, it is basically a retelling of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain, except from the point of view not of Huck Finn, but of James, the enslaved person that Huck takes on his travels. In June, I started listening to the audio of Huckleberry Finn to kind of prep for this. I read it, I believe, in high school, but I didn't really remember a lot of details. So I kind of wanted to reread that before jumping into this, and today I am actually going to start it. I am so excited, and definitely if you've not already subscribed to Stuart's channel, I will link to it below. Make sure you follow him and watch for his video too. So today I'm going to get a little bit more into the book. I'm going to give a brief synopsis and then some of my personal thoughts and review, some content and trigger warnings, and then lastly, some brief spoilers. I'll timestamp everything below, so if you want to skip certain sections or jump around, you can. James is an enslaved man in the 1860s, and he finds out at the beginning of the book that he is going to be sold to a man in New Orleans. Huckleberry Finn is trying to fake his death to escape an abusive father. The two of them separately end up hiding out on the same small island near their town. Huck trying to escape his father, James trying to save himself from being sold, and they end up joining forces, with James's goal being ultimately to save himself and then find a way to get back to his family. They end up rafting down the Mississippi River, similar to Mark Twain's original, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. They encounter a lot of people along the way. They have a lot of run-ins and scrapes and close calls and just a lot of things happening. At one point, Huck gets separated from James and the narration stays with James, whereas Mark Twain's version kind of follows Huck and we see more of Huck's side. Here we actually get more of James, his thoughts, his perspective, and his storyline. I read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn back in high school, and prior to reading James, I started listening to it on audio again. I only made it about halfway through, but the book seemed very similar as far as basic storyline, some of the people that they met, some of the things that happened within the storyline. It's just this time we get to hear from James instead of him being this kind of sidelined character, or at least a character that we don't hear from much as a person in the Mark Twain version. So some of my personal thoughts and my review. I enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 bookmarks. It was easy to read in the sense of being a quick read and fast-paced. It wasn't always easy to read in the sense of it covered some pretty heavy themes and it makes you think. And Percival Everett invites the reader into that process to think through the things that James is going through, the things that Huck is saying, the characters that they encounter. It's very thought-provoking. Mark Twain himself is a very good writer as far as writing goes, and he can be funny in his writing. However, in The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, the amount of racial slurs in just the first half that I listened to, there's a lot. There is a lot of racism in his book. That book brings up a lot of conversations, and I think those conversations are well worth having and talking about racism, talking about banning books and the place that books like that have in today's world. However, Stuart in his review was saying that he thinks that James should be required reading right alongside Huckleberry Finn, and I think I would agree with that. James is such a powerful perspective. We see his intelligence, his wit, his strength. We see a small glimpse of what his life and his story was like. As readers, we're confronted with the brutality and the ignorance of the people around him, the utter lack of care from the white people. And from the very beginning, you kind of see this as James has to alter even the way that he speaks around the white people and around the people that he trusts in and feels safe with. Throughout the book, there are various scenes where Jim dreams or hallucinates, and he has these conversations with people like Voltaire and John Locke. And in these scenes, you see him grappling with the philosophical thought from these people and the racism there and James's life and his lived experience. It was very interesting to me as well seeing Huckleberry Finn through James's eyes. And throughout the story, you kind of see Huck's wheels turning the whole story. It feels like Huck is just trying to observe. He has grown up so far a certain way. He is confronted with the realization that so many of the things that he's been taught explicitly and implicitly aren't true. I don't want to give spoilers in this section, but James is a phenomenal character, and this book is one that is worth a read. Percival Everett has written several other books as well, and I am definitely curious to try some more from him. There's definitely a lot of content and trigger warnings for this book. It deals with a lot of slavery, racism, racial slurs, rape, murder, physical abuse, grief, and cultural appropriation. For some spoilers, this section has a spoiler, so if you didn't see the timestamp, this is a spoiler. And it's really just one spoiler, but the ending scene where he claims his name, I almost just don't even have words for it. It is such a deeply powerful and profound scene of him choosing and claiming his name for himself and claiming the power that he should have as a human being. Once again, make sure you check out Stuart's channel. I will link to him below. And if you have read this book, I would love to hear some more of your thoughts. And did you read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn as well? What are your thoughts on all of that? What was your favorite theme from the book? What was your favorite scene? Let me know. And until next time, happy reading.